Pleasure to introduce a fellow Louisianian, a gentleman that I've known and worked with over the years, John Wells. John Wells was born in Taylorville, Illinois in 1950. He graduated from Sangamon State University, which is now the University of Illinois at Springfield, in 1973. He also entered the Navy in February of '72, and he was commissioned as an officer in 1973. He served as a surface warfare officer until his retirement as a commander in 1994. John served at sea for 10 years in 6 different ships, and he had 6 years in command of shore facilities. During his last tour of duty, Commander Wells attended the Duquesne University Law School night program. He graduated in 1994, shortly before his retirement from the Navy. Returning to Slidell, Louisiana, which is on the North Shore, not far from New Orleans, he opened his own practice, which emphasizes military and veteran law. His practice is national in scope, and Commander Wells travels throughout the nation in support of military personnel. He routinely handles cases in the Washington, D.C. area. Additionally, he has represented clients in federal court and court-martials throughout the United States and before the Department of Veterans Affairs, as well as military and veterans law. John also practices in the Louisiana State Court. As well as Louisiana, he's admitted to practice in Pennsylvania, the District of Columbia, on and on. So I won't go through all of that, but he's very, very well qualified. A great attorney. Commander Wells served as the Director of Legal and Legislative Affairs of the Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Association. In 2012, he founded Military Veterans Advocacy and served as their founding executive director. In that capacity, he traveled extensively to Washington, D.C. to advance legislation important to members of the military and veterans. He has also filed extensive litigation to protect the right of those who are serving or have served. He has testified before both the House and the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. Since 2019, he won a successful court case titled Procopio versus Wilkie, which forced the VA to grant toxic exposure benefits to tens of thousands of veterans. He's a member of many veterans councils. He's very active in our state. He's on the board for the USS Kidd Naval War Memorial. And I would like for you to join me in welcoming my good friend, John B. Wells, as our speaker.
You have to clap for me, Mike. I can't do this.
Go Army, beat Navy.
Not a chance. What do you got? I think they've won 4 games this century so far. Well, Joey, except for the last, thank you for that kind introduction. Certainly appreciate that. I'm glad you didn't tell any of the bad stories. And look, that incident on the Mexican border was really blown out of proportion. I swear, I've never had tequila again. Military Veterans Advocacy. Who are we? What do we do? How can we help you? How can you help us? And that's kind of what I want to do today, is run through it very fast. Please take the time to visit us at the vendor's booth later on when you get a chance over the next couple of days. I'm the chairman of the board. That means I get to sweep out the office, change the toilet paper rolls, just about everything else. And if you need to contact me, if you want a copy of these slides, for example, john.wells at mvadvocacy.org. Easy to remember. Okay, what do? We litigate, legislate, and educate. Gosh, what does that mean? I thought it was pretty cool when I made it up. But we're an all-volunteer board. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. And you can also find our website. And I would ask you to make a note of that or pick it up off one of our business cards, because what we can do for you is provide you a lot of information dealing with different toxic exposures, which are on our website. We're a nonprofit under 501c3. We're not a 19, we're a C3. All volunteer boards. our secretary, and just took a picture of me, and our Panama director, and also director of our fundraising are back there. They're volunteers, just like I do. We have a fine joke. When somebody does something good, we say we double their pay with $0.00. That's easy to do. They do something wrong, we cut the pay. Same thing, no biggie. We began accepting members in 2020. We became a membership organization. We're currently around 1,700 members. National outreach and national impact. What did I just do? Hold it. There we go. Okay. Why did we establish it? We started out as a Blue Water organization. I've told some of you we were the Blue Water people, and we were. And the Air Force sprayed all kinds of Agent Orange herbicide throughout Vietnam. They sprayed the rivers, they sprayed the streams, they sprayed the coastal areas, and everything else. And all of this actually rolled out or washed out into the bays and harbors. The VA, in their wisdom, in 1997, the General Counsel said, well, wait a minute. The statute says service in the Republic of Vietnam. So therefore, we're going to say you had to have boots on the ground in Vietnam. Doesn't make sense when you think about it, because the territorial sea of that nation is part of the sovereign territory of the country. And eventually the courts agreed with us on that. They implemented that boots on the ground policy in 2002 and basically cut 229,000 veterans out of the potential for Agent Orange exposure benefits. The Australians, our friends, actually found what the problem was. They noticed, because they're very proactive, and unfortunately we're not, they noticed that there was a 22 to 26% increase of herbicide-related cancers among the Navy folks compared to an 11 to 13% among the Army folks. That don't make sense. What's going on here? Being good Australians, they all got together over a beer and said, let's go find out. My wife's Australian, so I can make Australian jokes. And they did go find out. After eliminating every other source, they looked at the drinking water, because the ships at the time used desalinization. They would convert salt water to potable water and also water for the boilers. Okay. They found that in the estuarine waters that the Agent Orange actually went out there, floated there. Look, it's mixed with diesel fuel. I'm from Louisiana. Joey's from Louisiana. We can guarantee in 2010, we found out petroleum products float. They floated throughout that area. They floated out of the Mekong River. Okay, and a hydrologist tells us can go 700 kilometers from shore. Okay, evaporation distillation process based on Henry's law. The VA wouldn't buy it. Okay, that's what it looks like. That's the Mekong. See all that junk and gunk and so on and so forth? That's taken from outer space, and it goes just drifts out into the South China Sea. The harbors, big mixing bowls. Okay, you had your river that would actually empty out into the harbor. Those riverbanks were sprayed. Plus, Da Nang was the biggest spray area that there was, and it would wash into the river. It would go into that harbor, the tide would come in, the tide would go out, and guess what? It took some of that stuff out there with them. We had an interesting thing on the briefs on Procopio when the government said, well, okay, that was in the estuarine waters, but nothing else. Well, fine. In our reply brief, we pointed out estuarine waters are the mixture of the salt water and the fresh water, and gave them a citation. It's kind of embarrassing for them. That's all right, I don't want to embarrass the VA. So, what happened? How did we do this? Look, it's her fault. She's a little old lady, turning 75 pretty soon, okay? Her husband got denied benefits. She said, no, ain't gonna happen. And eventually she proved that he was on land in Vietnam. So he got his benefits. She said, but what about all the rest of it? This ain't gonna stand. Well, I made the mistake of being in some sort of a talk thing and said, yeah, well, Susie, her name's Susie Bellinger. Yeah, I was an engineer in the Navy. I know some of this stuff. If I can help you, let me know. And it was like, okay, well, you're an attorney. Do you go to D.C.? Yeah, I do. Okay. Do you spend an afternoon on the Hill? Sure. Okay, how about an extra day? Yeah, okay. The rest of the week, I ain't pushing it, Susie, but okay. And then I get this phone call one day. Look, we got 35 appointments set up for you next month. Susie, I ain't going to D.C. You are now. Okay. So So we formed Military Veterans Advocacy and Self-Defense, so I could at least get a little bit of a tax write-off on what I was spending. Okay, we took over. In 2018, we had a big push. We passed it through the House, stalled in the Senate due to cost. And you'll hear about something called the Pay-As-You-Go Act. That's a terrible act. What it says is if we increase benefits, including veterans benefits, we have to decrease them somewhere else. So if I want to give benefits to the Blue Water Navy, I've got to either find a funding source, or I could go tell somebody else, hey, look, sorry guys, but we got to take your benefits away so we can pay for the Blue Water Navy. That's what the law says. It's been on the books since 2010. So we gave up on Congress, to be honest with you, and we took the Procopio case up to the Federal Circuit. Now, Federal Circuit previously had said, the VA, you know, they write their rules, it's reasonable, we'll do what they say. You know, we don't care about what anything else happens. But this time, we got the full court, all 12 members, to stand up there, and they said, yeah, you know what, we were wrong in that case, and they reversed that case, and that doesn't happen very often. But because of that, we increased the benefits to not all 229,000, but to about 174,000. See, that's what it looked like. You see that bold line? That's a Vietnam service medal line. And prior to 2002, if you were within that line, was also the combat area, you got it. Now, under Procopio, you'll see a little red line there. That's called the baseline. And it intersects all the outermost islands. The dashed line down from that is the territorial sea. So even what we're doing right now after Procopio, we're only taking a small part of that area. But we've got another court case pending, and it would take in that entire Vietnam service medal area and effectively roll it back to the way it was before 2002. I don't see a clock here, so somebody throw something at me if I start going over time. Okay? Where do we go from here? We stopped being just Blue Water Navy because we found out there's other problems. Guam, we have evidence of spraying from 1958 to 1980. American Samoa, same thing. Johnson Island, that's where Agent Orange was sent to die. And the VA says, yeah, look, we agree the barrels were there, and we agree they leaked. But gee, they were all maintained by civilians. That island's less than a square mile. I mean, it's a fly speck, okay? And how do they get their water supply? You got two ways. You can stand out there with a cup and hope it rains, or you use the evaporation distillation system, which is the same system they used on the Blue Water ships. And all that stuff, that Agent Orange herbicide, would leak into the area surrounding it and be taken up into the distillation. We have a bill on that I'll talk about in just a second. We also have a court case pending on it. Thailand, Laos, Cambodia. You know, we verified spraying in Laos, Cambodia, Thailand. Hey, they sprayed the perimeters. We'll cover you on the perimeters. Well, wait a minute. That's fine, but the Army Field Manual, all the stuff's available on my website. Army Field Manual says you got to allow a 500-meter buffer zone because of wind drift. That makes some sense. But the VA says, if you don't have duties on the perimeter, we're not going to cover it. Well, okay, all your barracks were 50 to 60 feet, maybe 70 feet away. The hospital, the work centers, all right across that perimeters because the runways were in the middle, okay? They're not covering them. So you might not be duties on the perimeter, but just leave them on the perimeter. Well, I guess if you're a Marine, they could call that duty. But, you know, sorry, I knew there's a couple of Marines in here. But, you know, we have a constant problem with that. Korea, we've covered some of the area, not all of it. Panama, we've got plenty of information on Panama. What was Agent Orange doing in Panama? It was a good herbicide. We got 155 pages of shipping documents showing that we shipped there. So VA says, there's no evidence it was there. Then we have a picture of them spraying Lake Gatun. I probably mispronounced that, Don, I'm sorry. But it was actually on one of their newsletters. And then in 2020, we had one of our folks go down there on vacation, and guess what? They cordoned off the old Fort Sherman area with barrels with orange stripes on it, which is a symbol for Agent Orange. Okinawa, they dug barrels out of there, you know, hey, that was all supposed to go to Johnson Island, it didn't. Marine Corps Air Station Fatima, they found some in 1981. In 2013, they dug up some for a soccer pitch that they were trying to do, plus we have an affidavit from a stock control guy at Kadena Air Force Base who said, look, I hand counted all that stuff. There was over 25,000 barrels. And the VA denies coverage. Now, we have sent a rulemaking request in under the Administrative Procedures Act. And they have said, well, we better take a look at that. So they're talking to DOD on it. How long that talk's going to take, I don't know. But we have this stuff on our website. We have all this evidence. And if you've got folks that are going up to the Board of Veterans Appeals, your service officers are helping people, this is the kind of the way that we can help you without even doing anything else. You can go to our website, look under projects. We've got this information. Camp Lejeune, Fort McClellan, burn pits, the Agent Orange of the 21st century, if you like to call it. Where do we go? They continue to reject their herbicides. We're going to keep beating them up, legislation and litigation. And we do the rulemaking requests, and if they deny those rulemaking requests, right into court. They know that, okay? And don't mention that to the Deputy Secretary. In fact, you might not want to mention my name when he comes tomorrow. I don't think he likes me very much. So the VA came up with a new theory, tactical versus commercial. God, what a red herring. Oh, well, the Agent Orange Act was set up for tactical use. The word tactical and commercial does not appear in the Agent Orange Act. In fact, that's really a misnomer, because the language of the Act talks about herbicide and containing 2,4-D and dioxin. Nothing about tactical. So they say, well, they didn't use tactical on Guam because there was no Viet Cong there. Okay, well, that's true. But it doesn't matter. It's got the same chemical components. And the chemical components under the Agent Orange Act. So if your people start seeing that, look, we've got all kinds of information on that. Please take a look at it. Burn pits. Now, they've just approved 3 new presumptives. Asthma, rhinitis, and rhinitis with something or other I can't pronounce. And that's effective August 5th, 2021. That's a good start. No, it's actually not a good start. It's a start. But, you know, we have people dying from multiple myeloma. We have other respiratory diseases. Guy had breakfast about 2.5 years ago with a lady, late 20s, carrying around one of those carts with 2 green oxygen bottles, and the thing goes up her nose. She said, look, if I don't use this, I die. And that's a problem we're facing. You know what? Bad problems. We did it to ourselves, okay? As far as I know, North Vietnamese never sprayed a drop of Agent Orange, okay? And the Taliban never dug a burn pit. Well, maybe they got the equipment to do it now, but they hadn't up until now. So we did it to ourselves. So we go to the Capitol building. That's us on a balmy, nice warm morning in January, standing in front of the Capitol when you could still do that. We're supporting a myriad of bills, over 100 bills actually. Most of them are mired in committee. And it's an uphill battle because of this Pay-As-You-Go Act. Okay. If y'all can do something for us, talk to your governors. Have your governors talk to congressional delegations. Say, get the veterans out of the Pay-Go Act. Because we don't belong there. No limitations on OCO ops, okay? If you're going to send the troops overseas, you don't call them up and say, look, you're going to have to buy 3 less tanks because, you know, we need the cost of sending you overseas. That doesn't happen. So why do we do OCO ops going over, and then when they come back, there's no, pay-go applies and there's no way to get them the benefits. But we've had some potential successes. We snuck in 3 presumptive diseases for Agent Orange into the National Defense Authorization Act last year. And John Tester from Montana, whoever's from Montana, did that, and he did a great job. Thank you. Okay? And I told him he did a great job. It also required the VA to disclose disability benefits questionnaires. They said, well, people look at the disability benefits questionnaire and you know what we're going to ask them. So, you know, we don't want them to know what it takes to get the service connection. Yeah, right. Congress did take care of that. But if you notice, a lot of this stuff doesn't cost money. This is what we've had 3 victories in 117th Congress. The Save Lives Act, very important. It says a veteran, a spouse, caregiver, they get the COVID vaccine if they want it. What happens if you live outside the United States? There's 9 million veterans out there. I'm sorry, 9 million Americans, about 20% are veterans. With the exception of the Philippines, where there's a VA facility, and now they're just setting up a clinic on September 15th on the Mexican border. With those two exceptions, these folks aren't getting it. You're in Thailand, then hey, too bad. The Thai government will not vaccinate you. But yet we have a federal law that says it has to be done. We sent a letter to the VA secretary, say, hey, Mr. Secretary, this is easy. Just execute a memorandum of agreement with DOD and with Department of State. Yeah, there's status of forces agreements, but they can be worked around, renegotiated, and have them do it. Look, if I'm in Thailand, well, probably Thailand's a bad example. Let's say Germany, and I'm a retired Navy officer, which I am. I can go to the base and get the shot anyhow. But if I'm not retired, I can't get it. Something's wrong there. It should be an easy fix. We got an answer back saying, well, we don't have the authority to do that. Hey, we got the authority under the Save Lives Act. Is that going to go to litigation? Probably. Okay, although I'm, hopeful that we can negotiate something without that happening. But these folks are over there, the Delta variant, the Lambda variant, God knows what other variants are running wild, and we have Americans and American veterans that are not getting their COVID vaccine. PAWS Act, HR 1448, deals with service dogs. Look, if it's a dog bill, we support it. I mean, dogs are the finest people I've ever met. And the Sergeant Ketchum Rural Veterans Mental Health Act, and Cindy Axney out of Iowa. Who's Iowa? They're not here. Okay. Well, Cindy did good. All right. And we appreciated her support on that. We need more, but it's a start. Toxic exposure legislative. What are we doing? Okay. House of Representatives has the PACT Act, in our pact with veterans or whatever. Senate has Cost of War Act. Comprehensive. They bring in about 2/3 of what's needed, and that is a good start. Are they going to pass? I don't think so. CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, said estimated cost of $1.5 trillion over 10 years. People said, that's probably a little high. So the VA actually came in and said, no, it's not that high. It's $206 billion over 10 years. That's still a big chunk of change. Under PAYGO, we have to find the money. How are we going to do that? I don't know. That's where I said you guys could really help us by getting your governors to bring in the legislative delegation. I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, Independent. This is not a Democrat or Republican thing. This is an American thing, and it's something that we need to do. Okay. But these are some of the others we are looking at. We're doing some of the smaller bills because they don't cost as much. And again, if you want copies of the slides or whatever, just let us know. HR 3368 is Guam, Samoa, and Johnson Island, Thailand, Senator Bozeman's bill. Panama Canal Zone, 5026, Congresswoman Newman out of Illinois, and Representative Harder's adding hypertension to the other presumptives. He didn't make it last time because of cost. I don't think he's going to make it this year either. Radiation, K2, hey, we sent people to this base in Uzbekistan, okay, that I can't pronounce. About 10,000 of them after 9/11. And you know what? And it's 7 to 9 times the normal radiation level there. It was the old Soviet base, okay? We need to cover those. And that's not going to cost a lot of money. It's really not. And hey, for those of you guys from Nevada, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Utah, the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act comes up for renewal this year. And it's going to expire on July 21st of next year. We need to renew that to take care of people that were damaged by atmospheric nuclear tests. And we need to include our veterans. The Mark Takai Atomic Veterans, that's Etowitok. It's a little island out in the Central Pacific. We did, I think, 43 nuclear tests there. They sent a bunch of folks in there, no protective equipment. Oh yeah, they had them. I've got pictures of them, bare-chested, cut-offs, flip-flops. So they go clean it up, take the top 12 inches off, throw it in a bomb crater, and dump concrete on it. And they're dying by the hundreds. Polymeris, you may not have heard of that one. That was January 1966. A B-52 and a KC-135 tried to occupy the same airspace. Did not end well. 4 thermonuclear weapons were dropped on Spain. 1 went into the Med, 3 on the ground. Casing on 2 of them broke, and we had effectively the first dirty bomb. Safety devices work, no mushroom clouds with Spanish website, weekends, send people in to clean it up. No PPE, burn pits, Teams bill, Senator Tillis. S927 provides medical care, medical coverage for burn pits. It's a good bill. We're part of the Teams Coalition. But the better bill is the warfighter bill that actually provides compensation as well. Litigation. Not sure who that other guy is, but this is what we've done. Procopio versus Wilkie, we talked about. There was a second Procopio case because the VA secretary took the Blue Water Navy Act and said, hey, I can do a stay. And so they applied a 6-month stay. And they were going to renew it, we think, but we went to court. Court said basically, you got your 6 months, don't do anything else. On the Nova case, we did an amicus, which basically found jurisdiction over the M21 manual, was what they were doing, was putting the M21 manual into their rules into the M21 manual, so we couldn't take them to court. We also extended the 60-day limit to 6 years. I'm down just about out of time. We have pending litigation covering a whole lot of things, and we're happy to talk to you about them, especially the proclaimant canon. Don't forget this one. It says if VA is interpreting a statute, they have to interpret it friendly to the veteran. Education, we do social media outreach, community presentations, seminars throughout the nation, and continuing legal education for attorneys. And we even made it to the White House. Getting me through security was tough. So that's us, and did I finish on time?
Yes.
All right.